Well, much to the shock of Sacramento Kings fans and NBA aficionados alike, Chris Webber, a Kings legend, once again did not earn the votes to make it into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Many consider C-Webb to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, but today it's another Kings great. Player turned general manager Vlade Divac being celebrated for his call to the Hall of Fame. Former Kings head coach Paul Westphal also among the 12 inductees, so two Sacramento greats in this year's Basketball Hall of Fame class. Divac is in his fourth season as GM for the Kings, and he is one of the most beloved players in franchise history. You can see his jersey hanging from the rafters at Golden One Center. The Kings retired his number 10 years ago. Divac was part of those unforgettable Kings playoff teams, including the 2002 Western Conference Final squad, and the Serbian-born All-Star has become a global ambassador for the game for fans worldwide. In a statement released by the Kings, Divac expressed his gratitude for the Hall of Fame honors, saying in part, quote, "As a young man, I would have never believed the opportunities afforded to me by this great sport. Basketball has looked after me for most of my life, and I've always done what I can to give back to this special community. It's been an unforgettable journey, and I want to thank my family for their support." Divac is also showing his appreciation for his teammates, coaches, and, of course, the fans. And tomorrow evening, the Kings will express their appreciation for the fans in their final home game of the season, a 6 o'clock game all about the sixth man. That's you guys. You can bet Golden One Center is going to be rocking with 17,000 fans strong as the Kings close out their surprising season hosting the New Orleans Pelicans tomorrow. No playoffs for the 13th straight year. The Kings will fall short of a winning record for the 13th straight year after last night's loss in Utah, but they did have a chance to finish with 40 wins, which would be the most since 2006. That's the last time the Sacramento Kings made the playoffs. And remember, experts predicted the Kings winning just 25 games this year, so to be sitting at 39-41 going into their final game in front of their home crowd is an accomplishment for this young team. All right, and Sacramento Republic FC is back in action tonight at Papa Murphy's Park, taking on the Austin Bold at 7:30. The Indomitable Club is looking to get back in the win column after suffering their first loss of the season on Monday. And it was the beginning of a very busy week for Republic FC. On Tuesday, the club released these updated renderings for their proposed Major League Soccer stadium at the downtown rail yards, getting fans even more excited about the possibility of landing an MLS team after years of trying. Now it looks like Sacramento has all the boxes checked to land an MLS expansion team, and the city has its most comprehensive plan to build the stadium and entertainment district at a site that's been, quote, shovel-ready since the summer of 2017. The MLS Board of Commissioners will meet later this month to discuss Sacramento's bid, but Mayor Darryl Steinberg remains confident after these recent developments.
You could look back at December of 2017 when we came home without a team and by the deal and said, oh, I guess we lost. But we didn't lose. We just had to dig harder to get to this day. I'm glad we're to this day.
And it's a day that's at least a year and a half in the making since they released those shovel-ready plans in the summer. It was one of my first stories here in Sacramento, so I remember it vividly. But yeah, we'll see what the Board of Governors has to say about Sacramento's bid.
All right, yeah, and I know Steinberg is very much moving forward in his plans. So, Lina, it's awesome to see those renderings. A lot of people have been talking about that the last couple days. All right, Lina, thank you.
Sacramento Republic FC back at Papa Murphy's Park tonight, the club capping off an eventful week where the vision for Major League Soccer in Sacramento became a little more clear as city officials revealed more details for the proposed new soccer stadium at the downtown rail yards. Before tonight's game against Austin Bold FC, city leaders like Mayor Darryl Steinberg took to the pitch to show their support for Sacramento's MLS bid ahead of Tuesday's vote to build the $250 million MLS stadium. As for Republic FC, they're looking to get back in the win column after suffering their first loss of the season on Monday. Took 85 minutes, but finally we get our first goal of the match. It's off the foot of Jaime Villarreal. And the ball actually goes in the net after hitting an Austin player. So technically it's an own goal, not a Villarreal goal, but either way it's a point on the board for the home team, and Sacramento gets back in the win column with a 1-0 victory tonight. Now, much to the shock of Sacramento Kings fans and NBA aficionados alike, Kings legend Chris Webber once again did not earn the votes to make it to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Many consider C-Webb to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, but today, another Kings great. Player turned general manager Vlade Divac is being celebrated for his call to the Hall. Former Kings head coach Paul Westphal also among the 12 inductees, so two Sacramento greats in this year's Hall of Fame class. Divac is in his fourth season as GM for the Kings, and he is one of the most beloved players in franchise history. You can see his jersey hanging from the rafters at Golden One Center. Divac was part of that 2002 Western Conference Final squad, and the Serbian-born All-Star has become a global ambassador for the game. In a statement released by the Kings, Divot's expressing his gratitude for his Hall of Fame honors, saying, quote, "As a young man, I never would have believed the opportunities afforded to me by this great sport. Basketball has looked after me for most of my life, and I've always done what I can to give back to this special community. It's been an unforgettable journey, and I want to thank my family for their support." All right, and then there were 4. Just 2 weeks ago, we had 68 teams competing for a national championship in college basketball, and today, the final 4 teams descended upon Minneapolis to duke it out, no pun intended, for a shot in Tuesday's championship game. Let's get to the action. First, semifinal matchup of the day, the underdogs of Auburn taking on the last number 1 seed standing, Virginia. The Tigers making their first Final Four appearance in school history and mounting a comeback in the second half. You'll remember Virginia became the first number 1 seed in the tournament to lose to a 16 seed last year. It's the first time in tournament history that's ever happened. The Cavaliers survived a couple scares and close calls in this year's tournament, and they will advance to play for a title for the first time in program history. Virginia outlasting Auburn in the Final Four with a 63-62 win, advancing to that national championship game. Now the penultimate game of the college basketball season, number 3 Texas Tech and number 2 Michigan State. The Red Raiders had a 2-point advantage at halftime. They started feeling themselves in the second half with an 11-2 run against Tom Izzo's Spartans. And Patrick Mahomes, you see him out there. He's a former Texas Tech star, and he's also this year's NFL MVP. Cheering on his alma mater, and he's going to keep on cheering because Texas Tech is going on to face Virginia in the national championship game after beating Michigan State 61-51. So I know my bracket was long busted, so Texas Tech and Virginia in the championship game. I don't know how many brackets exactly predicted that, Madison, but I know that was a long shot for a lot of people who have Duke.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you that, and I know almost everyone in this newsroom, their brackets are busted too. I was Gonzaga, Kevin John was Gonzaga, Duke, and then Sean was Duke, and yeah, not looking good for us.
Yeah, and hey. Virginia was the one team that I said I don't really see them doing much because they historically have not done well in the tournament. So this is the year they proved me wrong.
Hey, all right, so maybe vote for them? I don't know, or go for them? Not vote for them. All right. Thank you, Lina. We'll leave the sports to you.
Gotcha.
All right, we'll be right back.
And as we speak, more than 17,000 Sacramento Kings fans are getting ready to cheer on their team, and they are all ready as the Kings take the court for the final time this season at Golden One Center. The Kings hosting the Pelicans in their penultimate game of the year, looking for their 40th win, which would be the most for Sacramento since 2006, and that was the last time the Kings made the playoffs. Now, while Sacramento will miss the playoffs for the 13th straight year, this was a surprising breakout season for a team that won only 27 games last year. Now, just 2 months ago, this young team was in the thick of a playoff chase, and Sacramento was the last team to be eliminated from playoff contention in a tough Western Conference. So while it is a bummer for Sacramento to still hold on to that longest postseason drought in the NBA, this was an exciting season for Kings fans who have a lot to look forward to with the future of this team. And one of the players that fans are hoping to see as the future of this team is third-year guard Buddy Hield, who was on fire throughout the season from three-point range. Not only did he break the franchise record for three-pointers made in a single season, which was previously held by Kings legend Peja Stojakovic, Buddy Hield is just 3 long-range shots from setting the NBA record for the most three-point shots made in his first 3 NBA seasons. Portland's Damian Lillard holds the record with 599 three-pointers, but he's currently at 597, so we'll see if he can get that record tonight in front of the home crowd before the Kings close out the season in Portland on Wednesday. All right, let's turn to baseball now. We're almost 3 weeks into the season, and the Bay Area baseball teams are already seeing some struggles. The Oakland A's are on the road facing a division opponent in the Astros, who are going for the sweep in Houston this afternoon. The A's get on the board first, though. They take an early 2-0 lead, but the Astros respond in the bottom of the inning, scoring 5 runs. Aledmus Diaz taking Mike Friars deep against his former team with a 3-run blast to put the Astros on top. And it was tied at 8 in the bottom of the 9th when Oakland's all-star closer Blake Trinan finds himself in a bases-loaded jam that he can't get out of. And that bases-loaded walk-off is how this one ends. The Astros get the win 9-8. The A's head to Baltimore to continue their road trip tomorrow. All right, let's get you out to San Francisco. The Giants in a rubber match with the Rays this afternoon after a win yesterday. Fans didn't even have a chance to get to their seat with their hot dog and beer before Yandy Diaz went yard, sending the second pitch of the game out to the bleachers. The ball actually bounces off the railing there, and that's a solo home run. The Giants only managing 5 hits to the Rays' 10 in this one. The Giants get shut out 3-0. They'll continue their homestand tomorrow with Manny Machado and the Padres in town for a 3-game set. All right, tomorrow night, the men of Texas Tech and Virginia take the floor for the men's NCAA basketball championship game in Minneapolis. But today in Tampa, the women of Notre Dame and Baylor took the floor for their rematch in a 2012 national championship game. Congratulations are in order to the Lady Bears of Baylor, outlasting the Fighting Irish in a nail-biter. Going down to the wire once again, Stockton's own Akira DaCosta is a national champion. She's a former St. Mary's basketball star. She's a freshman at Baylor. We featured her as a sports standout last season, and now she's a national champion. So congratulations to Akira DaCosta and the Baylor Bears. Pretty big deal, guys.
Oh, absolutely. That's awesome. It's great to see a local star, too, make it on the national stage or, you know.
Yeah.
I'm loving all that estrogen.
Yeah, that too. Go, girl.
Power. All right.
All right, Lina, thank you so much.
The Kings play at Golden One Center for the final time this season. A Sacramento basketball legend is heading to the Hall of Fame, and a couple student athletes from Stockton are showing off their skills on the national stage. We've got a stacked show for you coming up tonight on Toyota Sports Extra in just a few minutes right here on ABC 10. 17,000 Kings fans packed the Golden One Center one more time as Sacramento's breakout season comes to an end. We'll take you inside the locker room for the final time this year, and you'll hear from Kings general manager Vlade Divac, who was just named to the Basketball Hall of Fame. And the A's continue their road trip in Houston while the Giants host the Rays for a rubber match in the Bay Area. But both ball clubs took the L today. We'll show you what went wrong on the baseball field and explain what led to a benches clearing brawl in Pittsburgh. And from Sac State to the Twin Cities to Tampa, we're highlighting a number of student athletes doing big things on the national stage, including a basketball star from the University of Pacific, whose hops took him all the way to the Final Four. Plus, we're taking you inside Pro Day for UC Davis football star we're expecting to see playing on Sundays in the NFL. So stick around, hang out with me and ABC 10's Kevin John on Toyota Sports Extra coming up right after the LNT. We've got a busy show for you, Madison.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome, Lina. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to it.
You're watching Toyota Sports Extra.
Welcome to Toyota Sports Extra on ABC 10. I'm Lina Washington, and I am back to join Kevin John here, and we've got a stacked show for you tonight. The Liddy Committee did their dance for the final time on the home floor at Golden One Center. The Kings play their last game in Sacramento, and Kings fans not really happy about this one.
Yeah, at least they were happy. And this time next week, we'll have playoff basketball right here on ABC 10. We'll bring you up to speed on what happened in the association today, including the Warriors' farewell to Oakland.
I think I reached all my goals in terms of a player, and this phase that started 4 or 5 years ago with the Kings is a new chapter in my life, and hopefully I can achieve, at least close to that.
You are hearing from one of the most beloved players in the Kings franchise history, Vlade Divac, who is now a Basketball Hall of Famer. And that's where we will begin tonight with the Sacramento Kings and the idea that all good things must come to an end. After a 27-win season last year, most experts had the Kings winning only 25 games this season. But Sacramento went on and shocked the world. The Kings were in a playoff conversation up until just a couple weeks ago. And today, this young team took the floor for the final time in front of the home crowd at Golden One Center, the 28th sellout crowd of the season on hand to see if the Kings could pick up their 40th win over the New Orleans Pelicans. And 40 wins would be the most for Sacramento since 2006. The Kings have lost 2 of their 3 earlier meetings against New Orleans. In fact, the only win the Pelicans have in their last 8 games is against the Kings less than 2 weeks ago. It's the struggle against New Orleans that Sacramento has been quite in a funk in. It's not just New Orleans, rather. They've been in a funk since the All-Star break, and the Kings were hoping to give their fans a win to carry into the offseason, give them something to smile about. But the Pelicans, led by Jahlil Okafor and Ian Clark, would not go away quietly. Clark finishing with 31 points in 36 minutes, 5 points from matching his career high. We've seen a lot of records in career nights against the Kings. The Kings would rally from a 16-point hole in the third quarter to tie the game at 102 points apiece, but that's when the Pellies open up a 9-0 run, and the Kings get 29 points from Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox chipping in 24. But fly, Pelican, fly. Fly, De'Aaron Fox, fly. Put on skates there at Golden One Center. The Pelicans spoiled the going-away party, beating the Kings 133-129. A tough way for the Kings to leave G1C after an exciting season. Again, 133-129, your final.
Tough night for us, disappointed for us because we wanted to finish the game in front of finish our home season in front of our fans and with a win, and still been a terrific season. But by and large, over the last 9 games, I think we've played well once, and the idea of what we're trying to do with this young group is to teach them how to play 82 games. And so, a year from now, hopefully, we'll be in a chance to be in 8th or be fighting for a playoff spot.
They played great. They made shots. I think they made 20-some threes. So
They played a good game, and I mean, you know, it's a hard one to lose, especially being the last home game. But when we try to get this last game, try to get to 40 wins.
Just because of our fans, you know, they came over here to support us that last game, and we kind of disappointed them a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's still a good season, and we have to keep our heads up and look at the future.
I don't like losing. No matter if it's second to last game. I like winning. So, you know, it's tough losing. But like I said, you can't worry about it too much. We got one more game left. We got to go out, play hard, you know, make sure we make it out healthy, and, you know, just give it everything we got.
So the Pelicans come to Sacramento and spoil the party in front of 17,000+ guests. Sacramento is short of their 13th losing season, and there's still a chance for the Kings to reach their 40th win of the season since they last made the playoffs 13 years ago. A huge accomplishment for this team, but it'll have to happen on the road if they do pick up 40 wins. It'll be in the final game of the 82-game season in Portland. But this season is going to be one to remember for another reason, right, Kevin?
Yeah, that's right, Lina. While the young Kings have had many years ahead for success, the Basketball Hall of Fame came calling for one of the franchise's most beloved players. Kings legend Vlade Divac, who now is the team's general manager, got the call just a few days ago that he's headed to Springfield. And I'm not talking about that city for the Simpsons. Divac is in his 4th season as GM for the Kings, and he is one of the most revered players in franchise history. You can see his jersey hanging from the Raptors at Golden One Center. Divac was part of the 2002 Western Conference Final squad. That series still gives me nightmares, and the Serbian-born all-star has become a global ambassador for the game, and he talked about the accomplishment from those international teams that he was most proud of.
My early years with my youth, you know, we won World Championship games, and from that team, you know, basically you're gonna end up, you know, maybe 3-4 Hall of Famers. Already Dino Radja is one, myself, I expect Toni Kukoc to be another one, and we were like 16, 17 years old. But then I made it to national team, you know, we played in Olympic Games, so a few of those moments from Olympics were great for me, you know, winning the medals for my country.
With Chris Webber, I mean, I know you want to see him go into Springfield as well. Just were you surprised he didn't get in this time?
Well, I'm always surprised, you know, when he's not there, but I wouldn't be surprised when that thing happens, and will happen. I was hoping that he's going to be there too, so it would be awesome to be in the same class.
Yeah, it would have been awesome to have Vlade and C-Webb in the same class. Chris Webber should be in the Hall of Fame, as Vlade said, but to much shock of Sacramento Kings fans and NBA aficionados alike, Webber once again not earning the votes to make it into the Basketball Hall of Fame. A travesty to most, as many consider C-Webb to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's not the case, though. A lot of folks can't figure out why. But former Kings head coach Paul Westphal is among the 12 inductees. It's only a matter of time before we hear C-Webb get the call. He will have to wait to hear his name. We can't wait, but we will look forward to seeing Vlade Divac inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in the ceremony on September 6th in Springfield, Massachusetts. We have more from the NBA coming up in 30 seconds.
Well, imagine how difficult it is moving out of a place that you've called home for the last 47 years. It was hard enough for me to move out of my mom's house after 18 years. But anyway, that was the sentiment felt amongst Warriors fans this evening as the Warriors played their very last game in Oracle Arena. The Warriors are set to move into their brand new home, Chase Center in San Francisco next season. So best believe the Warriors wanted to send their fans out with a bang tonight. With the win tonight, Warriors can clinch the #1 seed in the West. Tonight, they were rocking the We Believe throwback jerseys. Gotta love those. And it added some motivation. As usual, the chef was cooking. Steph Curry led the Warriors with 27 points. Golden State goes on to annihilate the Clippers, 131-104. Warriors secure the top spot in the West. With the loss, Clippers fall down to the 8th spot in the West. But most importantly, Warriors send the fans home with one last great memory from Oracle. And how about that other team who was challenging the Warriors for the top spot in the West? The Nuggets visiting the Trailblazers tonight. Now, after learning that they secured home court advantage to start the playoffs, Nuggets decided to rest Jokic, Paul Millsap, and Jamal Murray. So when you pull your 3 biggest stars, obviously you know what happens. Blazers took advantage. They defeated the Nuggets 115-108. Nuggets currently the #2 spot in the West, while the Blazers are holding down that 4th spot.
All right, we're talking playoffs. Take a look at the Western Conference standings. We already know which teams will be making the playoffs, but the spot's not set yet. The Warriors earning that top seed in the West for the 4th time in 5 years. Denver, again, locked into 2nd. But if you look at 6 through 8, just separated by just a game, and it's tight in the East as well. Here's the playoff picture there. Obviously, the Bucks clinching the best record in the league, followed by the Raptors. But when you look at 7 through 10, a total of 2 games separating all 4 teams. Who's in, who's out? Well, Miami and Charlotte, well, they are still alive in the playoff race. We'll see if they can make it into those final 8 spots. When we come back on Toyota Sports Extra on ABC 10, we've got some Sunday baseball, the Giants in a rubber match, and the A's on the road. We'll show you how things shook out on the diamond.
And a Stockton basketball star is now a national champion after another nail-biter in the women's NCAA title game. You don't want to miss how this one ended. This week's Toyota Top Play is going out to Kings guard De'Aaron Fox, who was honored with the Oscar Robertson Triple-Double Award. Every year, the award is given to a Kings player who exemplifies excellence on the court and in the community. 21-year-old De'Aaron Fox becomes the youngest recipient for his work to support breast cancer research, a cause that is close to his heart. The fantastic Mr. Fox, our Toyota Top Play.
Toyota is #1 MPG safety and value.
All right, turning to baseball now, the final season in the Bay for Giants manager Bruce Bochy. Not much expected of this Giants team, who found themselves in a rubber match against the Rays this afternoon, picking up their 3rd win of this young season. After picking up their 3rd win, I should say. Let's get you out to San Francisco. The Giants, again, facing the Rays. They got the win on Saturday, but the fans didn't have a chance to get to their seats with their hot dog and beer today before Yandy Diaz went yard, sending the second pitch of the game out to the bleachers. You see the ball bouncing off the railing there, and that is a solo home run. The Giants only managing 5 hits to the Rays' 10 in this one. The offense has been stagnant, and the Giants get shut out 3-0. They'll continue their homestand tomorrow with Manny Machado and the Padres in town for a 3-game set.
All right, we're almost 3 weeks into the season, and the Bay Area's baseball teams are already seeing some struggles. The Oakland A's are on the road facing a division opponent in the Astros, who were going for the sweep in Houston this afternoon. The A's get on board first, though. They're taking an early 2-0 lead, but the Astros respond in the bottom of the first inning, scoring 5 runs. Aledmus Diaz takes Mike Friars deep with a 3-run blast to put the Astros on top. Now, it was tied at 8 in the bottom of the 9th when Oakland's all-star closer, Blake Trinan, finds himself in a bases-loaded jam. Oh, my goodness, and he couldn't get out of it. And that's how this one would end, on a bases-loaded walk-off. Riveting stuff there. The A's get the win. The Astros get the win 9-8. A's head to Baltimore to continue their road trip tomorrow.
All right, now to some boys behaving badly, the Reds and the Pirates. Derek Dietrich up to bat, absolutely crushing this pitch. He stands there and does the unwritten rule of baseball, which is admire your home run, leaving the park for far too long. And that's something that the opposing team doesn't really like. So next time Dietrich is up, best believe the Pirates are going to send a message. Chris Archer throwing a pitch behind him, and all heck breaks loose. Reds manager David Bell is livid. The bench is clear. It's a lot of pushing and shoving and yelling. But when all is said and done, 5 people were ejected, including Bell and Yasiel Puig, who, in case you're wondering, the Pirates would go on to win this game 7-5.
Can't we all just get along? All right, well, in 2 weeks, we went from 68 teams down to 4, and the college basketball season culminates tomorrow night with Texas Tech and Virginia facing off in the national championship game. By the way, I picked none of those teams to make it this far. Now, who could forget last year when the Cavaliers found themselves on the wrong side of history as the first and only #1 seed to get upset by the 16th seed UMCB?
Yeah, those Golden Retrievers did a number on them, and a couple close calls for the Cavaliers this year. Virginia, they're the #1 seed left standing, and the name of the game is redemption as the Cavs play for their first title in program history.
I think that karmic payback, I don't know. I just, like I said, this journey is, I knew it was going to be a significant year in all of our lives. I knew that going into this year because of what was going to be coming at us because of that from a basketball standpoint. So I just knew we needed each other.
You think about how their season ended last year, and then to be right back here 1 year later, that's just incredible mental toughness. You know, I don't think we're going to out-tough Virginia's mental toughness. We just got to match it.
All right, now let's head to the women's title game. Baylor versus Notre Dame. Baylor seeking their 3rd national title, while the Fighting Irish is hoping to go back-to-back as natty champs. Lady Bears came out on fire, leading by as many as 17 points in the first half, but the Fighting Irish would mount a comeback in the second half and tie things up in the 4th. Now, with less than 4 seconds in regulation, Chloe Jackson right there would hit a layup. Sorry, Miss Jackson. That would be the difference. Baylor goes on to defeat Notre Dame 82-81. Jackson named the most outstanding player. The Lady Bears captured their 3rd title, first one since 2012.
And we got to give a congratulations to our own Baylor Lady Bear. Akira DaCosta of Stockton. She went to St. Mary's. We profiled her as a sports standout. She is now a national champion with the Baylor Bears. So congratulations to Akira DaCosta. When we come back on Toyota Sports Extra on ABC 10, we are introducing you to a Pacific Tiger performing on the national stage. He's our sports standout this week, going from Stockton to the men's Final Four.
Yes, and some Sac State students are putting pedal to the metal, vroom, vroom, building a car from scratch. We're taking you inside their garage next.
Welcome back. Time to introduce you to this week's sports standout. This young man represented Stockton on a national stage this past week. University of Pacific senior Roberto Gallinat was one of the 8 participants invited to compete in the college basketball dunk contest. The competition tipped off during Final Four weekend in Minneapolis. Before the event, Birdie, as he's known to his friends, told our own Sean Cunningham his basketball future is up in the air.
When I first heard it, Coach Stoudemire had called me, told me the news. At first, it was like it didn't settle with me. Like, till I told my mom and my dad, that's when it really like came to me. Like, I'm in the dunk contest in the 3-on-3, so it's like something I should be proud of.
What was their reaction?
They was ecstatic. They was happy for me. I just think it started by like me able to showcase my athleticism on fast breaks, and that dunk against Santa Clara, I think that's really what put me in it. Fast break, you know, you see the big trying to run with you, so you just take that 1-2, jump as hard as you can, and just let it go.
Did you ever tell them don't jump?
Yeah, I say it right after I do it. Don't jump. First time I dunked was sophomore year in high school. I remember when I first did it because I was short. I'm like probably like 5'5". Man, I just started running around the court. So I just kept trying. I couldn't get it again. So then I just went back to the weight room, started doing squats. I ended up doing that for a whole summer. In junior year, I was jumping out the gym.
Gallinat with the flush!
Dunking in the game is like 100 times better because you have everybody watching you. You have everybody getting excited, and then it just lets your emotions run free. I feel like I just want to show off like my athletic ability, so I'm gonna pick certain dunks that's kind of difficult, but if I pull it off, it'll show like how high I can jump. My goal is just to get to the final round because I already know what I'm gonna do for the last dunk. So my strategy is just trying to get me to that final round. The dream would be win this dunk contest, be able to sneak into the draft or something, and be able to just get my foot in the door and just stay there.
All right, well, you heard Roberto also taking part in the 3-on-3 competition during the Final Four weekend because Birdie went all the way to Minneapolis and dunked just this one time. Check it out. It was pretty good, but not flashy enough. A two-handed full pump reverse off the bounce to himself. He completed it on his first try, which is huge, but the judges thought it was too tame. He got 30 points. He would not be a part of the Dunkers advancing to the second round, but his 3-on-3 team did a little better. They're the runner-up in the championship team. They lost the championship game, I should say. They lost to the Colonial team, who took home just $100,000. Good job.
Yeah, big ups to Birdie. All right, switching gears. Sac State was one of 5 California schools to participate in a competition at Sonoma Raceway this past week. The challenge? Designing and manufacturing an energy-efficient vehicle completely from scratch. Sounds crazy. The competition? The Shell Eco Marathon. It's a competition that's been running for the last 12 years, challenging the brightest engineering minds in high schools and colleges throughout 8 countries. Sac State's energy-efficient vehicle is in its 3rd year. Last year they came close but didn't pass final inspection. This year, the Hornet Racing's team goal was to pass overall inspection and enter the final competition yesterday at Sonoma Raceway.
My name is Adrian Calderon. I'm currently a senior at Sac State.
My name is Brian De Dios. I'm a senior here at Sacramento State studying mechanical engineering. Especially with family, they don't always seem to realize exactly what is it that I'm doing. They just know that I'm working on my car. For them, they might think that I'm working on an actual car like the one that we drive every day, which is something that we're working towards. I want to come out with more solutions and more innovative ideas to be more efficient.
We started 3 years ago. This being our 3rd year, we're involved in Cheryl Eco Marathon.
We literally build a car from ground up, starting with the frame.
You have it connected to the...
You have to have body panels. You have to make sure all your electrical components are working, just like your everyday car. Crossing things off the list. If something comes up, you bring it to the group, bring it to whoever's more knowledgeable or whoever's working on the spot.
This one's going to the ground, but we're gonna have a common ground when it goes to the fuse box.
We're better off in terms of this year going into competition than last year.
Last year we had a lot of failures.
I felt it just really put the group down for a bit. Personally, I kind of just broke down.
That design was very different and very overkill.
Even then, I didn't let that stop me. Coming back this year, we already had an idea and a vision of where we kind of wanted to go. I wanted to have more of a structure, and success would be being able to go out and pass inspection. But not only that, being able to go out, being able to allow the members to grow with us.
At the end of the day, we're in very much better position than last year, and I think that's the beauty of it, that we're always growing, and we're going to continue to grow.
Well, those kids are a lot smarter than me. Well, the 3rd time was the charm for Hornet Racing and their energy-efficient vehicle club. You see the vehicle there as a finished product. Oh, so awesome to them. And this week's trip to Sonoma, a successful one, as Sac State's vehicle passed inspection, earning its way into yesterday's competition, where it completed 3 laps before the vehicle shut down. Now, unfortunately, they were unable to finish the race, but the student called this week a gigantic success and one they can build off for the future. As for the top teams advancing, the Shell Eco Marathon Drivers World Championship Grand Final in London comes up in July.
Well, he could be the next UC Davis football star to hear his name called in the NFL draft. We're taking you inside Keelan Doss's Pro Day next.
Toyota.
Well, it's not every day that a football player from UC Davis goes on to play in the NFL. In fact, the last player selected in the NFL draft was JT O'Sullivan back in 2002. Only 17 players have heard their names called in the draft in 100 years of football at UC Davis.
Wow, well,
long time.
Yeah, it's a long time, but Keelan Doss could end that streak, and he would be the first Aggie selected in the draft since Davis became a Division I program. Now, the draft is in a few weeks, and Doss is likely to hear his name called maybe as early as the 3rd round.
All eyes were on him Friday. Close to 20 NFL teams attended his Pro Day workout in the rain. Doss was the nation's leading receiver in his junior year and returned to Davis for his senior season, leading the Aggies to a Big Sky title.
But now his eyes are glued on going pro, and he talked to us about what it was like and what he wanted NFL executives to remember about his workout.
I just want to let them know that, if you draft me, you'll get a guy that's a hard worker and for the team. And I'm just here to make the team, as good as I can. At the end of the day, regardless who drafts me, I'll be grateful for that opportunity, and we should just make things work from there. So the dream is no longer make it to the NFL. The dream is playing in the NFL, for a long career. And that's kind of been like my transition, honestly, for these last couple of years. Is not just making it, but playing, having a successful career in the league. And it gave me the opportunity to be the person I am today. And without UC Davis, I'm probably not standing here in this position. So, they took a chance on me out of high school, and I can't thank them enough for that. So. Everything UC Davis has done.
While we're talking about NFL products from here locally, we had a chance to catch up with NFL journeyman DeAndre Carter, who's a Sac State product himself. He was back at his old stomping grounds at Playmakers Elite in Sacramento. He's currently in his 2nd season with the Houston Texans, and he spent some time catching up with local kids, coaching them up, running drills, and sharing his experience to motivate these young athletes.
Anytime I feel like you can put into kids, inspire kids, motivate kids, push them to their limits and, so they can grow and succeed in life, I'm always down for that. I always show up for that, especially being here at Playmakers Elite, where I trained at with Mike Johnson. Man, he's got a great thing going on here. I spent a lot of my time here, especially when I was at Sac going to school. A lot of my time here just putting in work, the sweat, the grind, all that stuff, working out with Mike, and it's been great. Coming back here, like you said, it's like home, man. It's like home.
Good to see DeAndre Carter back at home. We wish him the best of luck, and best of luck to Keelan Doss, who is looking to go pro.
And good to see you back at home right here. We missed you last week.
We'll see you next week.